What's going on, everyone? Hunter and Sherb from Team Misfit here today, teaching you coaches out there how to teach the strict ring muscle up. And yes, they are programmed in affiliate class. We're firm believers in variance and giving your athletes the opportunity to practice and perform these high skill movements inside affiliate class. As long as you coach it, we coaches understand how to scale our athletes appropriately, give them the most challenging option that's appropriate for them, and they will surprise you 100% of the time, every time. The progression that we're looking for, we've got kind of 3 steps here. We're going to start on the low rings, and we've got kind of a low ring, leg-assisted strict ring muscle up. We're then going to add a band and go with a band-assisted low ring strict muscle up. And then finally, we're going to go up to the high rings and talk about band-assisted high ring strict muscle ups and the unassisted strict muscle up, kind of the gold standard. Before we dive into those 3 progressions, the false grip is an absolute prerequisite for your athletes. All of these require the false grip. We shot a video not too long on low ring muscle up skill work. Head back to our Instagram feed to check that out if you're not super confident in teaching the false grip. But we're going to jump right into the progression with the assumption that we have that false grip locked down. So first step on the low ring work is the setup position. The rings need to be at a height where your athlete can get to the bottom of their ring dip, that is shoulder and bicep touching the top of the ring, and they're standing firmly on the ground. And you could even bend your knees a little bit and he's able to support himself. We don't want the athlete on the tippy toes, we want them in a solid position. Also, they're going to be standing ideally directly underneath the rings, but if you have athletes who are maybe a little bit bigger or they're unable to pull as high of a percentage of their body weight, they can just back up to make that ring row easier. But we're going to have Sherb start underneath the rings. He's got that false grip locked in, and he's going to lean back. He's going to look to keep his knuckles close to his body the entire time. As he goes to straighten his elbows, his knuckles rotate out a little bit to achieve that elbow extension. And from here, he's just going to go in the exact opposite direction, pulling those knuckles close, transitioning over the rings, and he's now in that standing position. From here, we have a couple options. Athletes who have the capacity to do a strict unassisted dip can do so. Athletes who can stabilize themselves at the top but maybe don't have the strength to press all the way out can perform a slight jumping ring muscle up. And then finally, if you have athletes who aren't able to safely stabilize themselves at the top, we can keep them in the bottom of the dip. And you'll notice he's lifting off his foot a little bit, and then he slowly starts to lift off his body weight of the other foot, and now he's supporting his full body weight in the bottom of that dip position. And athletes of all ability levels, they can get that ring row, and then they can lift as much of their foot off the ground as they want to get into that position. So that's kind of our low ring assisted version, or standing version. Now we add the band. This is our low ring, kind of full, little bit more strength required here to execute correctly. Sherb has got a thicker band attached to the ring, just like so. And what he's going to do is he's put one hand on the band, the other side of the band goes on top of the ring. And he's actually going to kind of hop himself up and take a seat on that band. And from here, we're looking for the exact same thing. He's going to be leaning back. I'm just going to stop him from swinging here. So I want him to be at a dead stop. And from here, I'm looking for that exact same pull, bringing the knuckles close together and turns over. And then from here, exact same dip options. He can do an unassisted dip. He can put his feet down and perform that jumping dip. Or we can have the athlete lift their foot off the ground and stabilize themselves at the bottom. So that's our second progression, the low ring with the feet down. Then we've got the low ring with the band assist. And now we head over to the high rings. So you'll notice if you look back at the video in the low ring portion, Sherb was really horizontal. That's because he's leaning back and he's directly underneath the rings. A great way to develop the pulling and pressing strength while on an unstable object, and that may be great for a large majority of your athletes. But that horizontal position isn't going to translate quite the same when we get onto the tall rings. So the first thing, kind of going back to the setup here, 1, we've got a mat here for a little bit of safety, but 2, The rings are at a height where Sherb can lock in his false grip while he's standing. So he doesn't have to worry about jumping up and kind of messing around with the rings and then he starts swinging. This is a great first step. So he's able to lock that in. Now we've got a band wrapped around one of these rings, and he's just going to step into that just like he would for maybe a pull-up, and then he can lock his false grip in. He might choose to cross his foot over that band so it doesn't fly away from him. But what's really important about teaching athletes, once they're able, they have the requisite strength to work on this tall ring muscle up or tall ring strict muscle up, is that they need to put themselves in a hollow body position and they need to be leaning a little bit back in that in kind of that dead hang position. It's very difficult to pull the rings from here all the way down to here when you're upright. Instead, we want the athlete leaning back a little bit, as I'm going to have Sherb demo here, and that's going to enable him to pull himself up and over the rings. So we've got that band assist. Now finally, if the athlete, any thickness of band, we can go a little bit thicker and then a little bit thinner, a little bit thinner, a little bit thinner until we run out of bands, and then we can get the athlete to attempt their first unassisted strict muscle up. Thoughts and prayers for Sherb. He locks that false grip in, he gets himself in that hollow body position, and then he turns himself over and executes that dip. So there you guys have it. 3 levels of strict ring muscle ups for, I would say, 99.999% of affiliate athletes. Like I said at the beginning, we're huge believers in giving your athletes the opportunities to do these high skill movements. 1, people have fun. 2, people do things that they didn't otherwise think they could do. And 3, for us coaches out there, this is a wide range of teaching progressions, and this shows your range as a coach and ability to teach a lot of different athletes in a class. If you take your time, kind of set up your logistics ahead of time, make sure you've got the bands, you've got the rings set up and everything like that, your class is wired tight, that is a class that I want to take. Give it a shot, and we'll see you guys next time.